Saw this question on our show sheet. Was pretty interested. I'll have you go first on this one. Can Josh Allen, Bills quarterback Josh Allen, finish as a top 5 quarterback this season?
Josh Allen. I'm glad you clarified that it was the Bills quarterback. For some reason, I thought you were asking if the Jags D end could have been a top 5 quarterback. So thank you for the clarification there. But
hey, we have new listeners. All right, we want to incorporate. We want to be.
That's true.
We want to be tolerant to the noobs. We want them to learn.
Yes. So Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, you said can he finish as a top 5 quarterback? Like, yeah, he can finish as a top 5 quarterback. Is he going to? No. And here's why. He's the quarterback 7 right now. So, and I have him ranked up in like quarterback 8. So it's not like a ridiculous question.
I have him at 7, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be right in that ballpark. But here, it's as simple as this for me, Steph. Top 5. So I'm going to just list off some names here. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. Which 2 of those guys is he going to beat out to get in the top 5? Is it like he could beat out Kyler and Russell Wilson? Is it likely he beats out both? Probably not. And on top of having to beat out 2 of the 5 I just mentioned, he also has to beat out the rest of the entire field. When we always see these quarterbacks come out of nowhere and vault themselves to elite status. It was Mahomes 2 years ago and Lamar Jackson last year. This year, I know there's a lot of flyer names we like late. We like Danny Dimes. We like Joe Burrow. Like, who knows who's really going to emerge. Yeah, Cam could always do it. So he can be a top 5 quarterback. I'm not going to draft him to be a top 5 quarterback because when I look at Josh Allen and where you're getting him as the QB7 in terms of ADP, there's a lot of players later on in drafts that I think actually have similar upside that are not going to cost me nearly as much, like Carson Wentz. Even Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, and Danny Dimes, I think all could creep up to the same territory as Josh Allen. Allen's going to be safer, and I think the likelihood of him getting into the top 5 is higher than all those other guys, but they're not that far behind to be, 4, 5, 6 rounds later. So really with Josh Allen, it just comes down to rushing volume, especially the touchdowns. Last season, he ran for 500 yards and 9 touchdowns. 9 rushing touchdowns for a quarterback.
That's big.
And he was still only the quarterback 6 on 9 rushing touchdowns. And that's going to be hard to replicate, especially when you bring in Zach Moss, who should be a better goal line back than Frank Gore was last year at that stage in his career. So for me, it comes down to the rushing. Not only is he going to have to replicate that ridiculous rushing season he had, which he can definitely do, but he's also going to have to be incredibly more efficient as a passer. He barely eclipsed 3,000 yards last season, and he was still under 60% on his completion percentage. So I think Stephon Diggs comes into this offense and helps Allen in the passing game, but he's going to have to push 4,000 yards and 25 touchdowns along with that rushing work to get close to the top 5. Or he'll be close to the top 5, but to get into the top 5, I think he's going to have to get closer to 4,000 yards and really up the passing volume and efficiency. So I think he's safe, but top 5 is going to be a battle. Top 5 is going to be a battle.
He just, to me, like, who were we talking about the other day that Christian Kirk. We said Christian Kirk is just, you go to the snack aisle, you see some of your exotic flavors. You get like your jalapeno chips. You got your, your mustard pretzels, and the plain bag of pretzels that are like you're okay with it. You're not gonna be disappointed. It's still, hey, I got some pretzels. I got a good snack. It's quality. You know what you're getting. But it's just not. Like, why not take the upside on a more exotic option, a later option? Don't devote the draft capital to Josh Allen unless he just completely falls. If he does get to the top 5, and I am expecting him to improve. I am a Josh Allen believer. I think he's a very good player. I think he gets a lot of unjustified hate. This is the best weapons group that he's had. He now has a true alpha wide receiver 1 with Diggs. He still has John Brown there, who, we saw that rapport building over the season.
Wasn't he like a top wide receiver 2 last year or something ridiculous like that?
Yeah.
Totally under the radar?
He was I think he was wide receiver 16.
I'll fact check it while you're talking.
Yeah, fact check me on that. But if he does get into the top 5, it will be, you said it. It's the rushing. It's the rushing. And Graham Barfield had a great tweet recently. It's rushing fantasy points per game among quarterbacks over the last 3 years, including postseason. Number 1, big whoop-de-doo, it's Lamar Jackson. Number 2 is Josh Allen. 8.5 fantasy points per game over the last 3 years. So that's number 2. That's above Deshaun Watson. That's a higher rushing floor than Cam Newton, Kyler Murray, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes. So if he gets there, we're relying on the I know some guys call it the Konami code. That's what we're relying on with Josh Allen. If the rushing's there, and the thing is, I don't expect him to rush more. They're putting pass catching weapons in front of them. They're bringing in a running back to take some of that pressure off of Allen on the ground. So I don't see that being there. Like, yes, it could improve. I don't see it exploding. I don't see him hitting 700 yards.
John Brown is the wide receiver 20 last season in full PPR, and I don't think any of us think of John Brown as a true wide receiver 1 in the league. Now you give him Diggs with Brown as the 2 and Beasley as a 3. Hopefully Dawson Knox finally taking a step forward at tight end. I think people have been trying to wish the breakout into existence. I don't think it's ever going to happen, though, but you give him those guys and a couple running backs that can be versatile and do different things. Singletary and Moss can both catch the ball. And maybe this offense, though, is going to have more volume in 2020 for him to get there. You just look at the other names we're talking about, like Lamar, Mahomes, and Dak are locks. But even like Kyler, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, those are all offenses that are getting it done. And you think about the Bills team and you think about a football team that's focused on the defensive side of the ball and winning games like 21-17. So I just don't know. Like, it's going to have to be a philosophy change for the Bills. Their defense didn't get a lot worse this offseason, and they were towards the top of the league last year. I think they're going to be stingy again. And I just can't imagine this offense being, a top 5, really even top 8 volume offense in 2020. So because of that, I'm going to pass on Josh Allen and let someone else take the gamble there in the middle rounds.
Here's the thing, too. Josh Allen could actually be the QB5, like somewhere around there in the first part of the season. But his last stretch of games is absolutely brutal, starting in the end of November. So this is on the 29th. They have a game against the Chargers. After that, they face the 49ers, the Steelers, the Broncos, and the Patriots. That's just such a scary stretch. And he kind of had one like this last year, too, and we saw the same thing happen. So he's a guy that, he's going to give you the rushing floor. If you're in a pinch, you can throw him in there. You're probably not going to be – he's not going to ruin a week for you.